So it's Buddhism in the flesh, and what is the role of a Buddhist monk? The main role for the Buddhist monk is selfish. To stop completely all of the looking outside and turn all of that inside so that one can become enlightened and free from suffering. In the social role, the Buddhist monk is meant to inspire and inform and give access to the way of ending suffering within oneself that doesn't depend on the outside world. That, for example, one can be happy, healthy, wealthy, strong, fearless, content, peaceful, even joyous, without having a job, without having a partner, relationship partner, basically without having anything. And that this sets a wise example, even beyond great, a wise example for the society and for the people. The secret, there's kind of a little bit of a secret. Everyone is psychotic. Everyone, mostly everyone, every person is basically in a state of consistent psychosis, as much as they are in any other state. And for people who've dealt with mental health issues, this can kind of be a relief. You know, we don't feel so alone in our supposed craziness. And for those people who are quite satisfied about their mental state and position, it can be a bit of an affront. And that's great, you know, be offended, be insulted. But the teaching there is to detach from one's conceiving about things, and to see the importance in that, to stop conceiving, to stop the proliferation of mental formations in the mind. And in this way, we can be less psychotic. Still very, very psychotic. The only person who's not psychotic is an enlightened person or a Buddha, right? So they're much less psychotic than most other people. And most enlightened people are going to be monks and nuns. And that's why we take refuge in the Sangha, because that's where most of the enlightened people are, is in the Sangha. And that means the Sangha has a kind of driving force or direction that's not based in psychosis or greed, anger, and delusion. And this is why we take refuge in the Sangha as one of the triple gems. We don't take refuge in online YouTube personalities that claim to be enlightened. We take refuge in the community of monastics. You know, how much less so do we take refuge in random people making comments or telling stories about things, you know, just saying things. So it's really a dastardly kind of situation where we're learning to go beyond mental formations. We're learning to detach. We're learning to give up complicated thinking. It's very important. It's a serious practice. And it's as direct and as clear and as precise as it sounds like right here. It's just that there's so much momentum. There's so much momentum behind that greed, behind that anger, behind that fear, behind that delusion, that it's very difficult for it to stop or to slow down.
That guy.
Yeah, do you guys have some questions? Kyle, Nick, do you have a question?
Oh,
What's your question, Kyle?
monk.
What'd you say, Kyle?
Are you Buddhist?
Yeah.
Become a monk.
You're trying to do this, bro. What is you?
It's just how it goes. Just how life goes, right?
No, I mean like when did you become a monk?
So I became a monk officially in 2018 on December 16th.
2018. 2018. You said.
Yes.
So you got any hobbies?
Everything. When you find yourself in mental formations, cognizing, thinking, use the word everything to clear out all the fixation, to clear out all the grasping onto something, onto someone. Widen out, brighten out, even spread out your arms like this. Use the word everything, or alumbe, or tukyang, mekyo, everything irrelevant itself. Tukyang mekyo mai. Cut,
Do you like
finish.
Pokemon?
Cut and finish, and end and resolve. Everything. Tukyang. Tukyang mai. Tukyang mekyo.
Ban for ban? That's kind of messed up, bro.
Pokemon is okay, but it's not Buddhist specifically.
Oh no, yeah, it's just like
You just have to, when you are a person like that, Kyle, when you are a person in that situation, you just have to really be willing to be good, to be a good boy, to not put yourself into this kind of like freakazoid alpha mentality. It's not about that. It's really about being a good person. And for
a good
most young
boy.
people today, for you, most men today, what you really need to learn how to do is go back to the child within yourself and stop trying to like hyper masculize yourself or hyper put yourself into this like controlling in charge position, and just be a child unto yourself. And that means be good, don't be bad, and work to purify your mind. Be generous, be kind, be patient. It's not about
I'm
being in
sorry.
charge of
Are
anything or
you in
being like Mr. In
like
charge because you went through puberty or whatever. It's a really big
are you in
problem
Asia
for a
right
lot of
now,
young
or
men these days.
are you are you in Asia or
We're in
America?
Thailand, okay?
Thailand?
Of course.
Oh no. Um. Okay. So your hobbies everything? What?
Everything. Everything. Meditation. This is a time for a real meditation practice and openness to the moment. Okay, NASA, do you have a question?
Yeah, I got a question. So when
Okay.
you meditate, are you focused on your chakras? Like, do you see lights? You know, the different color chakras. Like, what do you perceive that as?
Mostly to learn about meditation, you need a meditation teacher. So you need someone you need a real meditation teacher or a real someone who can give real guidance,
Yeah. Nah.
mainly.
I mean, I do it. That's why I'm just asking you. Like, what do you see? What do you
It's
visualize?
not,
You know what I'm saying?
meditation isn't about seeing anything, it's not about visualizing anything, it's about finding a real teacher, and it's about being humble enough to understand or accept that, you know, you basically are a novice or just a beginner in the world of spirituality or meditation and the world of everything, right? So we come back to this beginner's mind. And in the beginner's mind, or in the mind of real meditation, there's no chakras, there's no kundalinis, there's no space alien metro boomin focus beams coming through the light of Ra. There's
Mm-hmm.
nothing like that in a
Okay.
beginner's mind, or a mind of this is the way that it is right now, and just opening up to that. So it's really
Oh.
important that we actually can cut off all the ideas related to chakras and kundalinis and just like random people that we come across online. If you want to learn about real meditation, you should try to learn about Buddhism. All right, let's go to the
All
next
right.
question from the Japanese characters. Do you have a question?
いや、あなた日本語喋れますか？
arigato.
Oh, arigato. Oh, I just asked if you speak Japanese. I didn't know if you could speak or not. So you know Thai though, right?
What's your question,
You want me
sir?
to repeat my? Do you know Thai? Are you able to speak Thai since you are in Thailand, of course? Hello. Hello. I
Okay, thank you for your question.
what? What? What did I do?
Hey, what's up?
Oh my god. Oh.
Illusion, do you have a question?
Yeah, I
Uh,
did actually have a question. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so, according to what I heard, 'cause, I mean, I'm pretty familiar with different cultures and, you know, the development of them and everything like that, but there's theories, you know, that people, you know, seem to disagree about or agree about, you know, there's a controversy about how different cultures develop, specifically when it comes to Indians and Russians, right? There's not really a connection between Russians and Indians, and yet their cultures are very similar. And there's this theory that there used to be a central belief system to that area, the Aryan belief system that was shared by the Scythians and Western or Eastern Europeans, and the North Indians. So I was just kind of curious what your opinion was about the history of Aryan beliefs affecting the Vedic system.
Okay, good question. Very good question. Very important question for a lot of people. More important than they may understand. We may wake up one day with Donald Trump as the president. We may wake up one day with Condoleezza Rice as the president. We may even wake up one day with an alien as the president, or Kim Jong un as the president of the United States. It's in the realm of possibility, just like many things are. But regardless of who the president is, and regardless of what has happened in the past, and regardless of what will happen in the future, this is where life is. This is life. So, as much as we focus on complicated thinking about the past, about the future, about what's out there, we miss out on what is already here, and especially what is inside of here. So, the Buddhist teaching is to release and relax the importance that's given to mental proliferation. You should be much more willing to cut off and finish and end and resolve mental proliferation. And then whatever you want to think about, or whatever seemingly you have a lot of importance that you want to give to in your life, it should be as practical in terms of helping others and generosity and taking care of your own mind as possible. So that's the Buddhist answer to those kinds of questions. Looks like we have another person coming up, Jainunk. Go ahead, Jainunk. You have a question? Jainunk. As much as we can, we will do well to develop the capacity of just listening and just being open to everything, and then also engaging, concerned with doing good deeds,
Here's the thing.
concerned
I agree
with
what you're saying.
mindfulness,
It's
and
just
concerned with detachment, being willing to let go.
See,
Being
I'm
willing
trying
to let go of
respond and
everything,
engage
being
with what you're
willing to
saying.
let
Please
go
stop
of
muting me.
anything, regardless of what it is.
Who's like your mentor?
How can you expect a dialogue if there's, no communication?
We have to truly be ready to let go of everything, because no matter what, we will lose everything. We'll lose our body, we'll lose our mind, we'll lose our possessions, we'll lose our money. Whatever experience we have is temporary. So it's really this release and relax the whole body and mind, and to open up and widen out to that in any situation and in any moment. Again and again, continuously, instantaneously. Go ahead, Jainanku or Zero, if you have a question.
I have a question.
Yes.
And also, it's nice to speak with you. Your words help me. And I learn a lot through what you say with your videos and lives. But my question is, like, some people choose maybe like a path, living in monasteries, and some people choose the path of like starting families, like getting married, having children, and maybe taking care of family. Like, what would you say is like indicators like that could help someone like decide like what path and what's suitable?
Well, most importantly, they're not mutually exclusive. And as a young person, especially as a Western young person, I think one of the best things that you can do is to use your resources to explore different cultures and different paths. So the easiest path, certainly for most people, is to get married or to have a family or to live in the life of a business person, one way or another. And it's more difficult to become a monk or a nun and to devote your life to enlightenment. But you can try, you can experiment. In terms of this life of becoming a monk or a nun, it's a willingness to sacrifice and want to experience and be curious about abandoning your life. So, as much as you are curious and interested in and willing to experiment with abandoning your life, it makes sense to try to visit a meditation center or to do a meditation retreat or to become a monk or a nun temporarily or for long term. And another way that these two paths are not mutually exclusive is that monks and nuns rely on the support of lay people to live and to do their work, whether that's social work or internal work to develop the enlightenment. And these go together. The more enlightened someone is, the more they have a capacity to help others, really, deeply, meaningfully, and directly. We can be successful in business life, and we can be concerned with the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha, and we can work together. Both sides can work together and support each other. And that's the better way to do it, really.
I have another question. Have you ever experienced, like the term like culture shock, like maybe uncomfortable cultural differences, and like what has helped you to like accept those cultural differences and, even adapting?
Well, be more specific about your situation.
So like my partner, they're Indian, so I'm Western. I'm from America. I'm from California. And I think you've said you are as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, listen, you've got to take on not just the benefits, but the responsibilities that go along with those benefits. So as you become a wealthier person, as you become more successful in your life in a particular way, you have more responsibility, and now you have to navigate and make use of that responsibility to enrich your life, your partner's life, and direct that. To be concerned with the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. To be concerned with the wisdom path, the virtue path, and the community of monks and nuns as much as you can. If we are in a situation where we're just kind of sticking ourselves in a curry house or into the Indian culture, or even the Thai culture or the American culture, without this connection and relationship to the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha, it's probably not going to be that great. Because the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha is the greatest of great, concerned with virtue, cultivation, and wisdom, and the path to enlightenment, and generosity for that matter. So the culture shock is maybe just we have to take more responsibility for the powers and the benefits that we get from taking in that new culture and being a part of that new culture. And we have to guide that to the best of our abilities to benefit not only ourselves, but to benefit our loved ones and to benefit everyone. And that's important work to do.
I have do you watch anime?
I've seen some anime before. What's your question?
So, like, what anime do you think most aligns with your views?
Well, a lot of anime is directly Buddhist influenced. A lot of people don't realize how serious Buddhist culture and the Buddhist practice and tradition has influenced the major cultures of the world today. A lot of people just aren't aware of that. So the major countries in the world today are, except for America, are like China and India, and then you have South Korea or Taiwan or Japan, right? These kinds of places. These countries wouldn't be there without long-term consistent Buddhist society and philosophy and religion as a core. As much as what would America be without Christianity, what would Japan be, or what would China be, or what would South Korea be, or what would India be with Buddhism? And it's not clear what that would be. So a lot
What's
of
like your
anime
sorry
actually
for
has
interrupting you.
a lot of anime actually has direct Buddhist influences in very, very subtle ways.
What's your
Because
favorite anime?
Buddhism is the greatest system of spiritual training that has ever existed in human history. You see? That's why the
Yes.
meme of monks and the meme of enlightenment and the meme of like kung fu monks or whatever is so alive and so powerful, even though most people have never met a monk. Most people have never had any experience with monks or at a temple, and yet that meme is just so rich and alive. I mean, look at Aang, The Last Airbender, etc. And so what we need to understand that as much as you can physically train the body just for strength or speed, and then also skill for combat and fighting or whatever, you can train the mind to a much, 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 almost limitlessly higher degree than that. And so the anime is referencing and getting a lot of its supportive structure from the Buddhist mind training schools that have been established and functioning continuously for more than 2,000 years all over the world, especially in China, in Japan, in South Korea, in Taiwan, etc. The places where anime kind of comes out of.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, hey man, I got a question for you. So I noticed you said you're trying to get, like when you meditate, how do you get back to like the child state, child state of mind, like releasing trauma and stuff and letting go? Like, how would you do that?
So if we can use the power of nature, that's good. We can go out to the natural area, the natural place, and we can use the power of nature, just like you're an airbender, just like you're, going with the elements. You go out there and you eat that and you consume that and you accept that. You accept the power of nature as it is, the ripples in the water, the color of the clear blue sky, the floating green grasses, anything, everything, whatever it is, and you start to learn to actually develop yourself with the nature power. You see what I'm saying? And then as you are developing this relationship with the nature power, you want to give a little bit more importance to your breathing and to your awareness rather than your thinking. And basically we rinse and repeat that, and then we use a kind of methodology where we remember where we got this support from, we remember where we got this guidance from, and when we get twisted up, we come back to that. We say, okay, I'm off the path, I can't use the nature power anymore, where's Aang? Oh, Aang's got a TikTok, Aang's got a YouTube, I can give Aang a call if I need to. You see what I'm saying? And we need to start actually building those structures inside of ourselves. So like most people, 99.99% of people who start talking about chakras and stuff, they don't have a real connection to Aang. They've just got a connection to some dropout earthbender, that's smoking reefer in the streets. And that's fine, but that's not Aang, and that's not what we want to take refuge in. So Buddhism is like the gold standard for spirituality. There's a lot of good Buddhist teachers out there, and we would be well informed to take refuge in them as our buddies on the path, or as our helping hands on the path, so we don't have to go it alone.
All right.
Because think of it like this. It's like if you had a certain skill level, but you weren't willing to, like you were attached to the certain skill level that you have. So that goes to the understanding in the mind. You have to detach from your own understanding. You have to be willing and have a capacity to detach or to abandon or to not rely on your own understanding and rely on the understanding of the others or the monks and nuns.
Okay. All right.
You would do well to do that.
So, what ultimately, like, what led you into becoming a monk? What was your first journey?
Everything, everything, everything.
So there wasn't like a big wake up call for you
This
or
is
anything like that.
this is your big wake up call, Chief. So wake on up. Meditate. Everything. Widen out, brighten out. Not about something, not about someone.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you got to use your
Okay.
body to do that. You got to widen out. You got to open out. You got to, hey, hey, hey. You got to breathe it out. Breathe it in, breathe it out. And you got to got to get some of that jive flowing. You
Okay.
got to you got to clear out that those veins that are clogged up with attachment, with ignorance and attachment. Like this person who said, you were lost for a moment. They left a comment. You were lost for a moment. No, the lost is the ignorance and attachment. The found is the mindfulness and detachment. Aware, aware, aware. It's not about something. It's not about someone. It's not about some place or time or situation or certain kind of experience. Not about past or future. Detach. Detach from the detachment itself. Not about detaching or not detaching. Everything. Not about understanding or not understanding. Beyond understanding and not understanding already. Everything. Not about real
Okay.
or fake. Not about believing or not believing.
Just being.
Not about feeling or being or not feeling or not being. Be with the not being about being or not being. Widen out. Use the word everything. Use the word everything, everything, everything.
Okay.
That's not the word everything. Beyond okay or not okay. Beyond everything. The everything that is already beyond everything. Tukyang, tukyang. Mekyo, mekyo. All right. Do we have any final questions?
I appreciate you.
I
appreciate your
appreciate you
time
too,
for,
brother. You
answering
take
my
care, all
questions,
right?
though.
You come by anytime. Happy to have you.
All right, thank you,
All
man.
right. Not about meaning or not meaning. Not about understanding meanings. Not about creating meanings. Not about understanding anything. Not about achieving anything. All right. No more questions. We will end it here. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.